Coach, you told me last week that the run and shoot offense is designed for a defense to have trouble stopping. The only time you really stop it is when you stop yourself. Could you explain that?
Well, our patterns are adjusted against all the defensive structures. If we get zone, we know where to go. If we get man, we know where to go. If we get pressure defense, we alter the route so we get the ball to the receiver quickly. We have dropped it. We have not protected the quarterback. And we have continued to run routes up the field when it was a blitz, and we should be throwing the ball quickly. And I suppose maybe we should hit a couple of those receivers in the back of the head and wake them up.
Coach, Joe Paopao is having his best year in the Canadian Football League as far as statistics are concerned, but he's having a difficult time getting the ball in the end zone. I'm sure that's not all his fault.
You got that right, Leo. I think, number one, sometimes when you make a long drive at some particular point in time, maybe the things aren't going to continue to roll for you. We've been down into sometimes the running back has had the flag where he could have run in there. Another time we jump offside. Sometimes the guy misses a blocking assignment. I'd say this, that Paopao, I wish the other guys would play their positions as well as he is. But I think this is something also from a coaching standpoint, Leo. We just haven't worked hard enough on going in from the 25. That's something that we've had time to do now. We'll find out just how good we are from the 25 tonight. I hope we get to the 25 to find out if we can score.
Live from McMahon Stadium in Calgary on a beautiful summer's evening, it's the Stampeders against the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Hi, everyone, and welcome to Calgary. The coaches are ready, and so are we. Ready to see if the Stampeders can win their first game of the season after losing 3 in a row. Ready to see how the Roughriders play for Jack Goda. Remember, he's returning to Calgary, where at one point he was the head coach for the first time in 2 years after being fired. Now, with their thoughts on tonight's game, let's join Ronnie and Leo.
Well, thanks, Steve. You know, this game could be a beauty tonight. Ron, we've done about 10 games this year. This could be the most unpredictable. I think Jack Goda, talking to him before the game tonight, thinks that they're in for a big night. What do you think?
Well, I know he wants his offense to explode, but he also said that the Stampeders have the second-best defense in the country. Steve Barato, on the other hand, said they've stopped themselves every way imaginable. It's time for them to explode. So one of these teams tonight is going to come out here a winner. Calgary really needs to win. They haven't won yet, and they're at home. Big night for the Stampeders. Teams are about set to go, but for right now, we'll go back to CFL 85 control and Brian Williams.
All right, thank you, Ron Lancaster. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to CFL Control in Toronto. Week number 5, Saskatchewan's at Calgary. Let's have a look at the standings. We begin with the Western Conference. Edmonton moves ahead of Idle Winnipeg. The Eskimos, with a big win over Ottawa last night, will have the highlights at halftime. In the Eastern Conference, Montreal is still first, but hey, the story is Hamilton. That single win came last night at the Olympic Stadium. We'll see Ticats quarterback Ken Hobart in action during the second half of this football game. In baseball today, Blue Jays have defeated the Texas Rangers. Dennis Lamb gets his 7th win of the year. Now, the New York Yankees defeated the White Sox, and the Detroit Tigers defeated Milwaukee, so Toronto 9.5 games in front of second place New York. Montreal Expos are playing at this hour down.
McMahon Stadium tonight are absolutely perfect. The wind, normally a factor, shouldn't be tonight, and we won't have any rain because Leo Cahill was out doing a rain dance designed so it will not shower tonight. Beautiful Calgary on a gorgeous summer's evening, and they are filing in here at McMahon Stadium. They're expecting a crowd of around 15 to 16,000 tonight, and the officiating team tonight will be headed by Bud Ulrich from Winnipeg, and the rest of the officiating team. Calgary Stampeders will kick off to get this game underway. J.T. Hay putting it down into the end zone. Heel arms, brings it out to the 20, where the Saskatchewan Roughriders will scrimmage 1st and 10. Ron Hopkins getting downfield for the Stampeders to make the tackle.
Well, Joe Paopao is off to a great start. Best year he's ever had. Craig Ellison, a newcomer, not really new, but unusual to see a number 74 in the backfield, and Ken Moore. Receivers, Ray Elgard, really having a great year. I don't know how many people thought that he could come on the way he has this season. And the offensive line, Willie Thomas, comes over from Calgary, getting a chance to start against his old teammates.
First chance to see the Saskatchewan offense in action. 1st and 10 from their own 22. Hop out a pass. Looking for Elgard. It's complete. And Elgard is pushed out of bounds at the 45-yard line by Daryl Moyer. A flag is down. Paopao wasting little time in going to the air. And that's exactly what we expected. We thought it would be more or less of an aerial circus here at McMahon Stadium tonight.
not a bad play to open with, but boy, it sure hurts when you see a penalty flag on the first play.
Saskatchewan number 68. First down repeated.
So it's 1st and 20 now for the Riders. This time they'll do it from their own 12-yard line. Pow again to pass. That time getting good pressure from the Stampeders defense. Richie Hall coming in and getting on top of Pow very, very quickly.
Well, Richie Hall just stepped up from his safety position that time, got on the line of scrimmage, and just predetermined and come in there untouched. And he's got the great speed, and he was into Pow's face before Joe could get set up.
Yeah, when he wanted to throw the ball quick, but not quite that quick.
Good defensive line, one of the best in the league, led by Randy Troutman. James Walker is new in there this year. Linebackers, Darrell Nicholson, middle linebacker, former Argo, Steve Carpenter, Morrison, defensive secondary. Pretty much a veteran defensive secondary.
2nd and 20 for the Riders, but a flag is down. That time, Pow going to Algard. That time he couldn't hang on. Early movement perhaps indicated. Eugene Beliveau, guilty perhaps.
Looks like they're pointing toward Calgary.
Yeah, they're offside. You don't want to make excuses for a receiver at the best of times, but at the spot on the field where he had to catch the ball, he was looking right back into the sun. And that sun is a factor on that side of the field at this particular time of day.
Offside, Calgary 84. Procedure, Saskatchewan. Down repeated.
There's 2 for 2 as far as Saskatchewan is concerned. Their tackle was offside, or the Calgary tackle was offside, but they had a procedure call, and you just can't do this, especially in the shadow of your goal line.
I've been surprised Elgar's been able to get open so easy.
Boy, he was wide open that time.
2nd and 20, Riders from their own 12. Pow again to pass deep, and this time he overthrows the intended target, and again it was Elgar.
I'll say this. If Joe Pow's game plan was the first series to come out and throw that ball downfield deep to get the defensive secondary back, he's accomplished it. All 3 of his passes have been at least 20 yards downfield, so now maybe he'll come back and go to work underneath with the short stuff for ball control.
Well, you know, Joe, in his statistics in his last 3 or 4 games, a lot of them have been attributed to the fact that he threw to those backs coming out of the backfield and threw those short passes and marched the team right down the field. That's a dangerous place when you're in the shadow of your goal line throwing those deep passes.
Terry Leschuk will do the punting for the Riders. About 5 yards inside his own end zone. A pretty bad snap, but he fielded it well. It's away a poor punt. It's a good bounce taken by Walker. Walker down to the 45-yard line of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, where the Stampeders will get possession of the ball and good field position.
All right, Joe Barnes, 5 interceptions last week. He'll be trying to make up for it this week. Good running back in Walker, Lewis Walker. And Greg Fieger was not sure that he was going to play tonight, but he's in there. Dwight Edwards, formerly from Ottawa and Toronto. A good core of receivers. Their offensive line, a lot of experience in there.
Barnes trying to give to Walker, but he was smothered as soon as he got possession of the ball. Gary Doolin getting in on top of Walker as soon as the exchange was completed.
Well, you get that penetration into the secondary from a good defense. Here we go. Gary Doolin, Rick Goltz, Rick Moore. Doolin, as you said, he made the play right there with Cedric Kelly helping him. Kelly, a linebacker, pretty good linebacking core. We're going to see 6 defensive backs today. They'll have Dave Singh in there at times. Terry Irvin, after coming from Calgary, seems to have found new life. He's had a great season and a quarter or whatever he's been there, but he's playing well.
Loss of 2 on the play. 2nd and 12 for the Stampeders. Barnes under pressure and goes down. Back to the line of scrimmage.
Well, Steve, you know, Coach Corrado was saying yesterday at the press conference that every time they've had possession of the football in the first 3 games, they've had to go 80 or 90 yards with it, that they needed to get field position at midfield. This time they got it on that side of midfield and still wasn't able to move the football.
Well, what they tried to do on that play right there was put their whole formation out to the right, then get Dwight Edwards, tried to match him up on a one-on-one back to the short side, and Barnes rolled to his side, but the coverage was there and also the rush.
Barnes did manage to pick up a yard, but it certainly wasn't enough. It's 3rd and 9. J.T. Hay will get this away from his own 50-yard line. End over end going for the corner. And it bounces in and out of the end zone for the single point. So the Calgary Stampeders pick up a point with 11:57 remaining to play in the opening quarter. They lead the Saskatchewan Roughriders 1-0. Welcome back to McMahon Stadium in Calgary. If you've just joined us, I'm Steve Armitage along with Leo Cahill and Ron Lancaster. It's that man, Jack Goda, and his Roughriders against the Calgary Stampeders. We've got 11 minutes and 57 seconds remaining to play in the opening quarter. Saskatchewan will have possession and good field position. They'll scrimmage 1st and 10 from their own 35-yard line. Trying to dump it off, but it was blocked by Beliveau.
Well played defensively by Beliveau. They tried to run those receivers off and set that screen up the more. But Beliveau coming on the rush was able to get his hand on it. That's just reading on the run. Watch Beliveau at the left of your screen now. He sees him trying to set the screen, and he just drops off. Tries to intercept it. If he picks it off, he probably walks in, Will.
It was a little characteristic of how well the BC Lions played those screens.
2nd and 10 for the Roughriders on their own 35. Pow is sacked.
Well, I'll tell you what, the Saskatchewan Roughriders kept in everybody and their brother to help block that time, and they still couldn't keep the Stampeders out of there. But boy, Craig Ellis was wide open in the flat. They could have just had a chance to see him, but James Walker, who Barado's real high on anyway, put the rush on him and sacked him. He was the first man there.
A loss of 6 yards, 3rd and 16. Westchuck. Good punt. High spiral. Taken by Walker at his own 30. Gets outside, a couple of men, finally knocked out of bounds at about the 39-yard line by Denny Ferdinand.
Joe Paupau on the sidelines, as Ron has alluded already to, he's had an outstanding start this year statistically. If he keeps going, he'll break Warren Moon's record in terms of the amount of production he's had as a passer. There's the other part of the quarterback situation on the other side of the line of scrimmage. Joe Barnes, 75 for 130.
That was a 52-yard punt from Leschuk and an 11-yard return from Lewis Walker. And again, the Stampeders have pretty good field position. 1st and 10 from just inside their own 40-yard line. Screen to Walker. And Eddie Lowe was in to make the stop after Walker got back to about the 40-yard line.
Well, you saw him set the screen up, and Walker and Eddie Lowe made the tackle. But coming from the outside on that tackle, number 22, Dave Singh, who we said earlier in their 6 defensive back set, will get a lot of playing time tonight because the Stampeders do not run the football. They're going to throw it, so get that extra back in there.
Oh, they ruled that Walker was brought down at 39, so there's no gain. 2nd and 10 for the Stampeders from their own 39. The arms of Dwight Edwards.
Well, that's another one of those things Coach Braddock was talking about. They dropped them and everything else that's happened to them. This time, you can't throw it any better. It hit him right on the numbers.
Well, there's Barnes' delivery, and the knock on Dwight Edwards in the past has been that he'll make about 3 or 4 key plays that can break a game wide open, and then he'll lose his concentration for some reason. That's usually attributed to a rookie, but he's been in the league now long enough that he should be concentrating. Dropped it right in his mitts.
J.T. Hay
watching.
Gets this away from his own 30-yard line. High punt. Lots of hang time on that one. Stu Frazier at his own 35. Bounces around. Gets up to about the 34-yard line before he's brought down by Barry C.C. 9:19 to play in the opening quarter. And Calgary lead 1-0. And Brian Giofatti, driving for Tolman, has the ball position for that race tomorrow. Michele Alboreto, leader in the driver's standing, will start in the 8th position on the grid. That's the German Grand Prix tomorrow on Sports Weekend. 1st and 10 for the Saskatchewan Roughriders from their own 35-yard line. Ellis goes nowhere. Randy Troutman.
Well, Leo talked when he was introducing me in defense about the play of Randy Troutman. Here you can see just what he meant by being the leader of that Stampeder defense. He just clocked it right away. Nowhere to run at all.
So when you're that big defensive tackle and you can stand that offensive guard up and just clog that thing up, and then they can converge from either side, there's no room in the end.
So the Riders will do it again, 2nd and 10 on their own 34. Foul complete to Chris DeFrance. Connie Harris forced him out of bounds.
Well, it looks like the Stampeders have decided that they're going to blitz foul in 2nd and long situations. That's about 2 or 3 times now. Every time 2nd and long, they're coming after him with somebody. They came again with a safety man from the other side of the field that time and really put the pressure on, which is going to make him throw fast.
Well, if you're going to throw fast like that, those long passes to the sidelines aren't going to be that effective. You've got to hit those backs swinging out of the backfield or hit those uncovered slot backs going downfield in a hurry when the blitz comes. If you have to throw to the sidelines, it's just not going to get there with any degree of efficiency.
Terry Leschuk punting to Walker at his own 35. It's out across the 40, where the Stamps will scrimmage 1st and 10. 8:06 remaining to play in the opening quarter. They lead Saskatchewan by a score of 1-0. That coming on a punt from J.T. Hay. Now that doesn't look like Ronnie Harrison or Jimmy Marshall. Ralph the Dog.
Is it our ISO director?
Could be.
Could be. You never know.
First and 10 Stampeders from their own 40. Over the middle, complete to Barrett. Barrett still on his feet. Cuts it inside. And finally brought down just outside the 10-yard line by Billy Jackson.
Boy, just a curl route against the zone defense. The Saskatchewan linebackers dropped out of there, and Barrett found the hole right over the middle.
He shows
right
that he can
over
run
the middle.
too, doesn't he, Ron? He's an ex-quarterback.
This is good running, excellent running. But you know what surprised me was the linebacker Jackson came so far to get him.
A 59-yard gain for the Calgary Stampeders, and Danny Barrett setting up a 1st and 10 situation for the Stampeders from the Roughriders' 11-yard line.
There's a good job of Lawrence Thompson downfield using some discipline now and not throwing that flip block.
Barnes pumps. Thompson off in the end zone. Touchdown! Barrett!
I wondered who he was throwing the football to for a minute. I thought the receivers were covered. Barrett just went up and got that. That's a good catch.
Boy, Barrett's a happy guy, and as we said before, this is a guy that was a quarterback last year. In fact, he was the backup quarterback. They've moved into the slot back position. It's a real advantage for a quarterback who's looked at defenses for an entire year, watched films and everything else, to get into that pass pattern. He goes down here, and Joe rolls out, and everybody's covered. And as Ron said, it looked like everyone in the end zone was covered. There you see Barrett go up in the air and just take it away from the defenders. Good job.
All quarterbacks are good receivers.
The only receiving you did was from those defensive linemen hitting him.
J.T. Hayes' convert is good. So the Calgary Stampeders, much to delight of their hometown fans, go in front of the Saskatchewan Roughriders by a count of 8-0. That's got to give this club a little bit of confidence.
Well, the main thing about it is that they went down the field a long way, but they only did it in 2 plays. I think what Coach Brado would like to see, take them and methodically march down the field 8, 10, 15 yards at a time. That's a fast way to get down here. If you do it often enough, you win.
But the way this club has played of late, I think they'll take it any way they can get it.
Boy, they sure will. They'll take anything that Saskatchewan wants to give them.
You know, if you got a defense that's got some discipline and got some patience, though, it's hard in Canadian football in 3 downs to just drive that ball all the way down the field. Remember Jack Godey yesterday was saying that in Ottawa, Coach Smith several years ago used to put the offense in there and have them just run down the field on passes all the way the length of the field without a defense in there. And a lot of times they couldn't even make it without a defense in there. Somebody make a mistake, drop the ball or something else. So if you can get a team that can take that ball all the way down the field, boy, they're doing a great job.
How
Joe
about
Papa.
loosening up, huh? He's going to have to get a little bit of time if he's going to be able to throw it. Stampeders want to come after him. Receivers, as Leo mentioned, they've got to get into the middle and get into his vision in a hurry so he can find them.
What a season he's had so far. 1,240 yards passing. He has attempted 147, completed 102. If he continues on that pace, Leo, he will have 6,613 yards for the season.
Which will surpass Warren Moon, who everybody thought made a record that would have a hard time ever being broken.
J.T. Hayes' first kickoff went out of bounds at the 4-yard line, so he'll do it all over again, this time from the 40-yard line. Alarms takes it at his own 2. Uh-oh. He's got blocking. Still going. J.T. Hay, the last man, forces Alarms out of bounds.
Well, that is a morale booster for Saskatchewan. Anytime a team scores on you, the first thing you want to do is get a big play your way to get that momentum back. And no better place to do it than on the kickoff.
Well, how many times we've seen this happen, though, that a team would have something good happen to them and then kick off to the other team and get a little bit careless. And this is what happened. They gave up their contain on that right side coming down, and he swerved to the outside. And you hate to see your kicker be the last line of defense, but he just did enough to get him out of bounds. Good job by J.T. Hay.
A 68-yard kickoff, a 66-yard return. 1st and 10 for the Riders. The flag is down. Foul completes to Christopher France. Gets down to about the 22-yard line.
I think we're going to see a illegal procedure call on somebody on the offensive line, I believe, because the referee threw the flag immediately. Oh, the lineman moves. Definitely. The lineman, once they're in a 3-point stance, cannot move till the ball snaps.
As the old saying goes, a lot of times you don't win a game, you lose it.
Procedure, Saskatchewan, number 62.
I've never heard that one before.
First down repeated.
Leo just made it up.
You could use that from here on in.
Okay. 6:40 remaining to play in the opening quarter. Calgary leading the Roughriders by a count of 8-0. And it's 1st and 15.
Just think of the way they started down there on the first kickoff. They threw a nice completion out almost to midfield, blew it and had it called back. And now on this one, they had gone to the 20-yard line and had it called back. You can't do that.
Papa over the
There's what
middle.
we're talking about right
And
there.
it's complete. Craig Ellis.
That's exactly what we're talking about, Ron, right there. If they're going to come with that blitz, Craig Ellis coming out of that backfield will be looking for that ball in a hurry, and he just gets beyond the linebackers.
Well, he gets inside. You know, that's the main thing. Get inside in the quarterback's vision. Quarterback throws it away from the defender, and they get a big gain, get that 10 yards back. So now it's only 10 yards for that first down. That was a big play.
A gain of 17 yards. Indeed, it was a big play. 1st and 10 for the Roughriders. And just outside the Stamps' 30-yard line. Papa comes it off to Ellis. Ellis down to the 11-yard line. Darrell Nicholson in to make the stop.
Boy, Craig Ellis made a good move there. He just sat back in the backfield and let everything clear out, and he just leaked out underneath it. Watch Craig Ellis, 33 in the backfield. Now watch, he just sits. Now, when everything gets out of there, he just goes into the open space, and you cannot let him catch the football in open field. He's hard to bring down.
That's what you call your check flare type thing, where he just sets up to block it. If there's nobody on him in a hurry, he can check down, and he did that. And Joe Pawpaw, being the veteran that he is, got the ball to him.
Roughriders are knocking on the door. 1st and 10 from the 11. That time, Pawpaw going to Christopher France. He takes it down to the 3-yard line. Mikey Alarms also over there.
They came after him with a blitz, but Stephen Jones, the new wide receiver playing his first game for the Riders, went to the post, and he was wide open. So let's see if they come back with it.
Check this one to see if they come with the blitz.
Gain of 6.
Got to take the penalty here. Got to take it. Take the penalty, get another down.
Want to get a message down to him?
They got it.
Offside. Calgary number 77. First down repeated.
First down over.
Darryl Nicholson was in such a hurry to blitz, he was offside, but you see them coming. Just throw it out in the flat. DeFrance will make that catch all day long.
So it's 1st and 5 for the Riders to pitch. Ellis cuts it inside. Touchdown.
Well, you punch that defense up inside, and they're going to toss it around you. We've seen all the teams this year in short yardage situations, and they have those big guys in there. They try to toss outside. We saw the BC Lions the other night with Steve Van Jenkins. Now we see it here with Craig Ellis.
Good block here by number 74, Moore. It just knocks the defender off balance enough to allow Ellis to use his strength to go into the end zone.
Craig Ellis knows where the goal line is, and he wants to get in there. Good job. You don't have to knock the guy down, as you say. All you do is knock him out of the way and let that guy make the cut, get him off balance, and the runner will do the rest.
4:39 remaining to play in the opening quarter, and the Saskatchewan Roughriders are on the board. Penalized for too much time.
This is really no disadvantage for a kicker.
No problem.
Automatic.
He would probably rather be here than in closer.
That's a disadvantage.
Tell you what, that's
Stu Fraser recovered well, set it up, and Ridgway put it through the upright. So it's an 8-7 ball game with 4 minutes and 39 seconds remaining to play in the opening quarter. Third place Ottawa Roughriders traveling to Winnipeg, take on the Blue Bombers. You can join Ron, Leo, and Don Whitman for what promises to be a great one.
Well, there's that snap in center. That's crucial.
What a great job of recovering as far as the holder was concerned. Vieger had to scoop it up off the ground, still get it set up.
The kickoff following the Saskatchewan touchdown. And it'll be taken by Dwight Edwards. Edwards looking for a hole up the middle. Still on his feet. Trying to get to the 30-yard line. Brought down about the 26 by Dave Singh.
Steve, I was giving Vieger credit for that hole. It's Fraser that did such a good job of scooping that ball up, and that really was a presence of mind move. And it's tough on the kicker when he's all set to kick that football. He has to break his stride and then set up again and then re-stride, but they got it done.
I don't think the holders get enough credit. I think they do a heck of a job.
If it would have been Greg Figure, he'd have threw it down. Tell you that.
He'd have thrown it at the kicker.
1st and 10 for the Stampeders. Get to Walker. And Walker gets out to the 38-yard line. Make that the 39.
You see that guy that made the tackle, Dave Singh, number 22. We said he's a defensive back trying to play up where a linebacker plays. That's a tough job stopping a big running back as big as Walker is.
A gain of 11 on the play. 1st and 10 for the Stampeders from their own 39. And there's the man that picked up the first down, Lewis Walker.
Go defense!
Barnes passing to Emmanuel Talbert. Talbert, if he can get a block, he could go a long way. And the right block may have put him in the end zone, but I'm sure he'll take it. He gets down to the 18-yard line before he's forced out of bounds by Kenny Hedden.
Well, that eats up that real estate in a hurry. We said their last drive was because of big plays. They come right back with another one. Boy, did he turn it on.
Barnes.
There's that linebacker, Billy Jackson, down on the ground. Now he's trying to get the block from Barrett. Just couldn't do it. And Kenny Hinton gets it.
A gain of 53 yards for the Stampeders. They are 1st and 10 and knocking on the door. Barnes complete to Barrett. Touchdown! 2nd TD of the game.
Barrett, the first guy on the inside. We'll get a look at that in a moment on a run back. We were trying to get a look at that before, but our telestrator didn't work, but we'll get a look at that in a moment.
I told you to put a quarter in that thing. That's the only way it works.
It was just a simple job of the slot back sliding out in the flat and the two outside receivers. We're going to see it right now in a sprint out right by Joe. Barrett just went right down the line of scrimmage, and the two outside guys were used as blockers. He took the ball. He knew where that flag was and got it right inside.
And it's a happy Calgary Stampeder bench as they move in front of the Roughriders 15-7 with 3 minutes and 8 seconds remaining to play in the opening quarter. Calgary, as we mentioned at the beginning of the game, coming into this one, winless after losing to Montreal, BC, and Ottawa. The Saskatchewan Roughriders won their opening game against the Ottawa Roughriders and then lost to Montreal and Toronto. So the Riders trying to even their record at 2-2. Calgary looking for their first win of the season. And they have an 8-point margin right now, 15-7. J.T. Hay kicking off following the touchdown into the corner. Danny Ferdinand fumbles it in the end zone, and he elects to give up the single point. So that gives the Calgary Stampeders another point, making it 16-7 with 3:05 remaining to play in the opening quarter.
Well, it's not hard. It's right in his hands. You let it hit his chest. You let it hit your chest, and those shoulder pads are there, and it's going to bounce out of there more often than you're going to hold on to it.
You gave the pass receiver a little excuse before about the sun, but the sun that time was over his right shoulder, so I don't think that bothered him at all.
No problem there. He's looking away from it. You just catch that one.
One thing we mentioned before the show is that both of these teams were having trouble getting in the end zone. Now, they both had 2 chances down inside the 20 and got in there. So it looks like they've been working on something in practice, Steve.
First and 10 Riders from their own 35, and that time Pow way over the head of Krista Krantz.
That's good coverage by Larry Hogue. He just didn't let Krista Krantz to the outside where Joe Pow thought he was going. He forced him to stop and make a decision. By then, the ball's overthrown. Stampeder defense is tough.
It looks like they're putting a lot of emphasis on DeFrance and Elgard, so look to see Ellis and the other receivers catching the ball a little bit because they're covering those other guys pretty tough.
Second and 10 Riders from their own 35. Pow. The pass through the middle. Elgard's wide open. He's got it. And then he fumbled it.
Calling it incomplete.
Glenn Suter hit him. I thought he had it. It was wide open.
That's Richie Hall that hit him, 27, Calgary. But they call it incomplete. And, you know, they're going to go to Elgard, and you know darn well that Calgary defense back there is tough. Second best in the nation is what Jack Otis said. There comes the blitz. See what they do. Who's going to pick him up? No problem. Pick him up.
Excellent job by Willie Thomas.
Punting situation for the Riders. Leschuk. Good punt. Will be taken by Walker just outside his own 30. Gets across the 40 up to the 41. 44-yard punt by Leschuk. And a 10-yard return from Lewis Walker.
Well, Barnes and the Stampeders seem to have found a little bit of what they were looking for, making some big plays, getting things to happen. Saskatchewan's going to have to put on the brakes right now and slow that offense down. Don't ever let an offense get started on you. They gain momentum in a hurry.
First and 10 Stampeders from their own 41-yard line. 1:49 remaining to play in the opening quarter. Barnes complete to Edwards, and Edwards, as soon as he made the reception, was brought down.
Well, every team's throwing some version of that hitch to that flanker out there. Just 2 steps off the line, throw it at him, get him one-on-one on that defensive back. But Kenny Hinton, being the veteran, he made the tackle. You give him 4 yards, but he didn't let him escape.
That was a pretty cute little move by Dwight Edwards, too. He caught the ball from the inside and then tried to spin to the outside, but Hinton, being the old veteran that he was, protected his outside.
Gain of 4, second and 6 Stampeders from their own 45. Barnes to pass again, intending for Lewis Walker, in and out of his arms. Jerry Friesen doing a good job of covering Walker on that play.
Excellent defense by Friesen. He was right on his tail. When the ball got there, he came right over that arm and knocked it down. Get a good look at it. Watch the right arm. And right arm coming around his side. Watch his right arm coming around the side, he'll pull that left arm out of there. Pull it away from him.
Stu Fraser all alone back to receive this punt from J.T. Hay. He should get it away from his own 35. Good spiral punt, forcing Fraser back just outside his own 10. Fraser tripped up at the 20-yard line by Barry Cece of the Stampeders.
Barry Cece, University of Guelph receiver. Calgary drafted him last year. They like the way he runs patterns. He can catch football.
I like the way he plays on the specialty teams. That's the second time tonight he's got downfield and made the initial tackle.
Well, you know, he figured out real quick, if he's not going to get to be the starter, he's going to have to work those special teams, so you might as well do a good job of it.
Clock is running, 34 seconds remaining to play until the end of the opening quarter. Riders 1st and 10 from their own 20. Foul. Setting for Elgard, and he's got it. That time he hung on.
Just a great job of concentration.
You see the zone defense. See the linebacker's just dropping. He tries to find a hole. It's a great catch. Watch. Good concentration. That's
When those
thinking on your
linebackers,
feet, isn't it?
yeah, when those linebackers drop into those hook zones, you only have one recourse as a receiver, and that's to try to work around them so the quarterback can get to the ball, and he did that pretty well.
Elgard picking up 17 yards on the play. 1st and 10 Riders. That time going to Elgard, and that time it was knocked away. Richie Hall getting a hand on it. And there goes the gun to end the opening quarter here at McMahon Stadium. And much to the delight of the hometown fans here in Calgary, the Stampeders are leading the Roughriders 16-7. The Stampeders looking for their first victory of the season after 3 straight defeats. The Riders will scrimmage 2nd and 10 from their own 37 to get this second quarter underway. Pow going long. Good coverage on the part of the Calgary Stampeders, and may have been too good. Pass interference.
It's going to be interesting to see which way they call it.
Oh, they're going to call it on the defensive guy. I'll tell you one thing. He's playing a football, too. The ball's underthrown. He just pushed.
Donnie Harris
pushing. Well, that's a big play for Saskatchewan. They get 40 yards of field position.
Actually, the defender was in a perfect position.
Pass interference. Calgary, number 18. First down.
You're right. He had excellent coverage on it. He was in the position he should be in, between the quarterback and the receiver, between the ball and the receiver.
Second play of the second quarter. 1st and 10 for the Riders on the Stampeders 30. Foul. Elects to keep it himself. Fumbles. And he fumbles out of bounds. So the Riders retain possession. The rushing game was definitely not a factor in the first quarter, gentlemen. Total of 2 yards for the Riders, 11 yards for the Stampeders. Look at the big difference, though. Stampeders 145 yards passing compared to 59 for Saskatchewan.
Yeah, the running game definitely doesn't matter.
Jerked that arm, and the ball went right up in the air. Luckily, it went out of bounds, but there was a couple white shirts there that may have picked it off in midair and gone for a touchdown. Made a lineman's life.
2nd and 3 for the Riders. Stu Fraser into the game as a receiver. Foul. Pass is complete. Greg Ellis.
I'll tell you what was nice about that play. It wasn't nothing real big or fancy. It won't be one of the plays we'll talk about later in the game. But Craig Ellis caught the football and had the presence of mind to turn and stay where he has the first down rather than try to give ground and run backwards and lose it. He just turned around, took his hit, and kept the first down.
Pumps once, fires into the end zone, is knocked away. Larry Hogue getting an arm up to deflect that pass intended for Christopher France.
Well, what's nice about it, again, what Hogue did, he got between Christopher France and Joe Powell. So the ball had to go over his head and be the perfectly thrown pass. And then he had help coming from Daryl Moyer at safety. So they're going to make it pretty tough on him to catch that one. Stu Fraser in with a message from that man, Jack Goda. You can bet on that.
Should chip in and buy him a pair of sunglasses. He's having trouble.
Well, that's a handicap for coaching the sidelines, too.
Foul complete to Algard. Daryl Moyer in to make the stop.
Well, when you send that safety on a blitz, as Calgary did there, number 27, Richie Hall was blitzing from his outside halfback position. Daryl Moyer is the only one that can pick up that inside receiver. And when he comes from the middle of the field, he has a long way to go to get to the outside.
Gain of 4 yards on the play. It'll be 3rd and 6 for the Riders. Brings on the place kicker, Dave Ridgway, who has been good on 9 of 11 field goal attempts so far this season. That one is good. 22 yards for Dave Ridgway. And that gives the Saskatchewan Roughriders a total of 10, but they still trail the Stampeders by 6 points. Baseball, we've got a score from the American League, the Eastern Division, the all-important score for Toronto Blue Jay fans. Yes, indeed, folks, they did defeat the Texas Rangers by a score of 4-1. The Blue Jays are hot.
Well, I'll say.
Calgary Stampeders 1st and 10 from their own 35. Following that field goal, Lewis Walker tries to get up to the 40-yard line. He stopped short of that by about a yard.
Well, you got to run the ball once in a while, regardless of what type of offense you use. And if you're going to throw all the time, then the drop rate is as good as any.
Well, they had a total of 2 yards rushing in that first quarter. That time they picked up 5. 2nd and 5 for the Stampeders. Barnes. Feger. And Feger gets to the 42-yard line before he's brought down by Eddie Ray Walker.
But Saskatchewan defense just dropped back, forced him to throw the ball outside. He caught it behind the line of scrimmage. By the time he got up to the line of scrimmage, he was tackled.
.11:40 remaining play in the second quarter. Calgary in front of the Saskatchewan Roughriders 16-10. Stampeders in a punting situation. Low spiral from J.T. Hay right into the arms of Stu Fraser. Fraser, a little bit of a hole, and gets out to the 42-yard line. Fine piece of running there by Stu Fraser. Barry Cece again making the stop for the Stampeders.
Well, you can see they set the wall up immediately. It's a low-line drive, and those are the type that usually get returned. So he gets in behind those white jerseys, and as you say, he found the alley. Perry Cece, who had to come back to make the tackle, him and Bernie Morrison. And that's the way you check a rookie's attitude, is you put him on those special teams, and if he'll hustle, he gets a job.
48-yard punt and a 23-yard return from Fraser. 1st and 10 Riders. Greg Ellis gets outside. Forced out of bounds by Larry Hogue.
Well, a little counter play. Good job of blocking by number 44, Roger Alday. He came down to lead him. Made an excellent block, and Craig Ellis went around it.
Actually, the play was supposed to be run off tackle, and the block, the outside man closed it down, and Ellis had the presence of mind to step up inside and then swing to the outside.
Well, they're ready. Humboldt, Saskatchewan. I've been to every one of those towns at one time or another.
Thriving metropolis eye.
You bet.
2nd and 2 for the Riders. Craig Ellis trying to pick up the first down. But Darrell Nicholson stood tall at the line of scrimmage.
Let's see if Jack Goda goes after this.
This is going to be a big decision for Jack Goda at this stage of the game. They're right at midfield. That's a tough defense to go against. But I have a hunch he's going to go for it.
What would you do, Leo?
I'd go for it.
I'll tell you, your offensive line gets beat on one play, they're not about to get beat on 2 straight. So they're going to come off the ball, and they'll get that first down. Let's see if They measure it, or what are they going to do?
There's only one thing that you do here. If it's a yard or less, quarterback sneak.
Well, it certainly lessens the chances of anything going wrong with a quarterback sneak. It's just a simple exchange between the center and the quarterback.
The thing that we mention all the time now is that you got to really check that defensive line to make sure they don't encroach. But they're a good yard off. There goes the quarterback sneak, and he's got it.
You betcha. That offensive line, anybody's line, they're not going to get beat 2 plays in a row. Jack Goto breathe a little bit easier. Let's see where he goes.
Makes that white line come off.
A little step, get a little power, get behind his shoulder pass, get in behind that right guard, and go.
Pawpaw's no midget either.
No, Leo was surprised at the size of Pawpaw. He's a big man.
You want to know something? This is closer than we thought it was. I thought he had it by a good 2 feet, but it's going to be just the length of the ball. 1 foot.
Big first down for the Riders. Keeps the drive alive. 10-10 remaining to play until halftime. 16-10 Stampeders in front.
There it is. 6'1", 210.
Although I think he's playing a little lighter than that right about now. He went on quite a conditioning program in the offseason. Pawpaw firing up the middle, complete. Stephen Jones, his first reception of the ball game, and a big one it is.
Excellent catch. In fact, when Joe let the ball go, I was looking, thinking maybe he shouldn't have thrown it, but boy, he stuck it right on the numbers for him.
Well, we're going to see it here. One of the defenders jumped offside. The official didn't catch it. He went into the bootleg. Jones came across from the right side, right across the middle. You want to talk about a perfect pass. Put it right on the money. Jones went up and got it. Almost broke the tackle.
First and 10 Riders from the Stampeders' 16-yard line. Gain of 41 on the last play. Ellis taking the handoff, getting down to the 15-yard line. Steve Carpenter in to make the stop.
He just grabbed him and threw him down. He didn't mess around.
Second and 9 for the Riders from the Stampeders' 15.
Oh, no.
That's something you can't do, Ron.
No, sir, you don't. That's a mistake that drive a coach crazy.
Because you don't count on that kind of mistake, do you? You don't work that into your game plan. You don't figure that you'd ever have to overcome that kind of a problem.
Well, at this stage of the game, you ought to have something in mind when you get down there and get a first down in that area. That's critical down, and nothing should come in from the sidelines. You shouldn't have anything that interfere with your thinking, and it looked like he was looking to the sidelines and just got caught up thinking about something, and he's been around too long to do something like that.
Now it's second and 14 Riders from the Stampeders' 20. Pawpaw, complete. Touchdown, Mikey Larn.
Boy, you have to feel sorry for Donnie Harris, the corner who was covering the arms one-on-one. He tried to come back to cover him and ran right out of his shoe when he tripped and fell. And he just caught it and he went in unmolested. Nobody there to bother him.
Pawpaw had a lot of time on this, got back, got himself set, and rifled the ball down the field. And actually, Alarms just came back to the ball, and he just slipped and fell. Donnie Harris, whether he came out of his shoe, whatever he did, he won't be doing that again.
And the convert attempt from Dave Ridgway is good, and that breaks the tie and puts the visiting Saskatchewan Roughriders in front of the Calgary Stampeders by a single point, 17-16.
I'll tell you what, Steve, that Hobart looked like he belonged in the CFL last night.
Boy, he put a life into him, didn't he?
He sure put life in him, but the thing that impressed me about him, everyone's told me all along that he had good speed. And he certainly showed some speed and some great running ability, following his blocks last night, and leadership. And once he got that confidence, he's going to be tough.
Good kickoff from Ridgway, forcing Lewis Walker in the end zone. and he will concede the single point. So Saskatchewan go in front of the Stampeders by 2, 18-16.
Well, you see Pow throwing the pass. You'll see the ball go, and you'll see Donnie Harris is tripping, getting up off the ground, loses his shoe, and tell you what, Eli has some speed, and with that short a distance to go, there's no danger of anybody catching him.
It was just an everyday pass down there, a little hook in there. He came back to the ball, and you'd think it'd be a kind of a first down play. But as you say, Harris miscued in there, and he just picked it up and took it in the end zone.
A 72-yard kickoff for Dave Ridgway, resulting in a single point to make it 18-16 in favor of the Roughriders. 1st and 10, Calgary. Barnes firing complete to Barrett. And Barrett gets out to the 46-yard line before he's brought down.
Barrett's had a lot of success now, going down and curling into the middle and just finding the hole in there, and then Barnes has had time to find him. It's not a bad way to move the football. He's right in front of you. It's a straight line pass.
Pickup of 12 yards for the Stampeders on that play, making it 1st and 10. Ball just shy of the 47.
There they come.
Quick pass intended for Lewis Walker. Eddie Lowe getting in on top of Walker.
Well, they send everybody and their brother from the side of the field Barnes rolled to, and he just flipped it in there. It's almost a great catch, but it's a good hit by Eddie Lowe.
You see, when he came off the line of scrimmage that time, he was uncovered, but Eddie Lowe came from his linebacker position on a 45-degree angle and just got there about the same time the ball did and jarred him loose.
He sure did. What the receiver has to do, don't go in there too far. If you see the guy in there, stay outside. Make him come that extra step. You got it.
Ball at the 47, 2nd and 10, Stampeders. Barnes putting it up, intending it for Emmanuel Talbot, almost picked off by the Roughriders. Terry Irvin almost picking that off.
I'm watching there, with the exception of that last play where I was a little bit late on that stunt. There's just nothing that demands illustrating right now.
7 minutes remaining until halftime. A 3rd and 10 situation for the Stampeders. J.T. Hay will get this away from his own 35. Calgary bounce. Fran McDermott gets to the 20 before he stopped. So the Saskatchewan Roughriders will scrimmage 1st and 10 from their own 21. They lead the Stampeders by 2 points. 18-16 game with 6:36 remaining to play until halftime. It's going to be a tough one in which to pick game stars. There have been so many good performances so far.
But Danny Barrett has to get a little consideration right now.
And you could also consider the 2 quarterbacks, Joe Pow and Joe Barnes.
That's right. Long way to go.
Both up over 50%.
Pow going long. And he was intending that one for number 85, Stephen Jones. And it was close.
Stephen Jones has got a little bit of a turn of speed.
Well, when he threw that ball, he was nowhere that far downfield, and I thought that for sure it was way overthrown. When he let it go, I thought it was no way, but he almost got to it. In fact, some will say he should have caught it, and probably I'm one of them.
Joe Pow has attempted 16, completed 8 for 129 yards. 2nd and 10, Riders. Pow.
What the?
Tending for Elgard and in and out of his arms.
Just a great job by Carpenter, this linebacker, dropping back in there. Elgard had both hands on it that time, but while he was up in the air, he was collisioned by Carpenter, and just the ball came loose.
Elgard's good thing he's big and strong, 230 pounds, because when he's catching most of the footballs, he's off the ground taking good hits.
But then he's quite a target, though, isn't he?
Oh, a great target. And I tell you, I think he's had a year this year that not many people thought he would have, but he's come into his own, and boy, they go to him in the clutch situations, and that's what every receiver likes.
Punting situation.
Nice.
Good punt. Walker all the way back to his own 30-yard line. Tries to hurdle one man, but runs into another rider and is brought down at the 41-yard line.
Boy, Daryl Moyer made a great block for him. Coming back on that wall, he flattened one of them.
See Walker coming down here. Moyer made his block already, and Walker goes up in the air trying to hurdle him. That's how angels are born.
He's smiling. He knows he made his block on that.
That's what they wanted me to do, and I did it.
That's right.
1st and 10 Stampeders. 5:13 remaining till halftime. And that time, Joe Barnes cannot elude the grasp of Gary Doolin.
Gary Doolin beat Dave Kersinger, and Dave Kersinger is a pretty good offensive tackle, but Doolin's a pretty good defensive end. You're going to get that. You win your share, they'll win theirs, but you just hope that you win them at the right time, and in Saskatchewan's case, he won it at the right time. Get a good look at him here. Coming from the top of the screen, right inside Kersinger, and puts the clamps on him.
A loss of 8 yards, 2nd and 18, and again, Barnes is in trouble.
Well, that time Rick Gold and Billy Jackson had a little meeting at the quarterback. Little difference of opinion out there. Glenn Suter seems to be having a little discussion with Danny Barrett. Good defense. 2 sacks in a row. That'll force you to kick the ball. Jack Gold will be pleased with that. Had a nice talk with Jack today. Still living here in Calgary. We spent the day at home. Very unusual.
Well, you were a teammate of Jack Goder's, and you also played for him. Just seems to me to be a lot of fun to be around, either as a teammate or as your coach. He keeps everybody loose, and I think that the team kind of mirror him and play like. They're having a lot of fun out there.
Stu Fraser taking that J.T. Hunt. J.T. Hay punt. 45 yards.
All right. Yeah, as you were mentioning about Gotti, great guy to play for. Great guy to be around. You know that. You've known him for years, just like everybody else. He's a fun person. And they say if it's true that a team will mirror its coach, they're going to have an awful lot of fun playing football.
And he really loves the game, too. He's a 24-hour football guy.
Been in pro football for 28 years, 25 of those years in the CFL. 1st and 10 Riders. Quick pass. Complete. Elgard almost getting to midfield. Got to about the 54-yard line before he was brought down. It's a gain of 12. 1st down for the Riders. 3:26 remaining to play till halftime. Saskatchewan leading by 2, 18-16. Foul. Incomplete.
Came with a blitz that time. He had to throw it a little bit before he was ready, and he all threw it low and behind him.
So with 3 minutes and 10 seconds remaining till halftime, we'll take a timeout. Calgary trailing by 2, 18-16. 2nd and 10 for the Riders, and it's a quick kick. Joe Pow, quick kicking, and what a good punt it is. 1 point for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. A 61-yard punt. Joe Pow makes it 19-16.
Boy, I've been looking for that quick kick for 4 years.
Let me show you
finally got a look at it.
Well, you can't see it right here, but he's in a shotgun. But Ray Elgard standing behind him out to the right. He's onside. He was going to go get this football, but it sure took a bad bounce. Joe wasn't happy with the kick. He thought Elgard could get it. It took the forward bounce. He couldn't catch up to the ball. I wonder what Elgard was standing out there for. He usually gets deep and then runs up toward the line, but he didn't move.
Actually, Larry Hogue made a good recovery on it, so I think he would have, if it stayed in bounds, beat Elgard to it.
1st and 10 Stampeders from their own 35. Barnes under pressure, gets away, still on his feet, and now he's brought down at the line of scrimmage. Gary Doolin once again getting in on top of Joe Barnes.
They're going to have to do something. That Saskatchewan rushers all over him the last 3 plays. They just been all over Joe Barnes. He hasn't had a chance to turn around.
and faking a couple of times. Now he's under pressure. Sack. Joe Barnes. Inside the 25-yard line, Rick Goltz.
I'm not sure, Steve, but I believe that's 4 sacks in a row in 4 plays. That's excellent defense. I'll tell you, when you're sacking the quarterback that fast, you're in a lot of trouble.
Tremendous pressure from the Saskatchewan Roughriders front 4. And from that man, Rick Goltz. Third down and 20 facing the Stampeders. J.T. Hay. Punting to Fran McDermott. And McDermott gets back to almost midfield. Barry Cece again in to make the stop for the Stampeders. Stay with us at halftime. We'll have the national news. We'll update the baseball scores for you. We'll have highlights from the Ottawa-Edmonton game, the statistical story from the first half, and the play of the half.
A great field position, but here's what's giving it to them. 4 plays in a row, Joe Barnes has been sacked. Nobody's open. Now he reverses this field, and Rick Goltz is after him. He gets the first shot at him right here. Oh, he's going to have a little meeting.
All 3 of the front 4 are right there. Actually, the front 3.
Back to the live action. Mike Alarms and Christopher France were in the area. Christopher France made the reception.
Goltz likes it just like his old buddy from D.C., Hebler. They love to be in there where the action is.
Well, they got time to put this in the end zone. 151, a lot of time.
Bob gives to Craig Ellis. Randy Trotman making the tackle.
They blitzed the middle linebacker, and he went to the other side of the blitz.
Watch Carpenter come in and stunt through here, and he overshoots the thing and runs right past the man. Sometimes when you get that penetration, that was Morrison that time, sometimes when you get that penetration, if you don't come in on balance, you'll just run right past the guy, and it's all for no avail.
2nd and 4 Riders. This time the pitch to Ellis, and Ellis is brought down before he gets to the line of scrimmage. And it was Larry Hogue, number 14, getting in there for the Stampeders.
Well, he got some help from, I think it was Eugene Beliveau, but Hogue really took the blocker on and made the play. He's not very big to be taking those guys on. Ken Moore will outweigh him by about 50 pounds.
That was a loss of 3 yards on the play, so it's 3rd and 7. And this brings on Mr. Ridgway. His longest of the season is 52 yards. Again, a bad snap, but a good kick, and it's wide. And Darryl Moyer concedes the single point. So the Saskatchewan Roughriders go in front of the Stampeders by 4, 20-16, with 1:04 remaining to play before halftime.
Well, 1:04, as you say, Steve, and I'll tell you, when you run and shoot offense and they'll go to their hurry-up offense, they have time to move the ball downfield. If you think about their 2 drives, they were big plays to Danny Barrett over the middle. Let's see if he comes right back with it. Peter. Must be a problem.
Rider pride is indeed everywhere. It doesn't seem to matter what ballpark you go into in the CFL. There are always Saskatchewan Roughriders fans. 1st and 10 for the Stampeders. Barnes going long. Intending that for Dwight Edwards, but it's incomplete.
Well, the ball was underthrown. I think in 1 minute and 4 seconds, when you got to go that far, I'm not a firm believer in throwing that ball that far downfield. The chances of hitting it aren't real good.
Is there any special reason why you're not a firm believer in throwing it that far?
I think that they've had success throwing that ball across the middle.
But you could throw it that far.
No, I was going to say, because he couldn't throw it that far.
No, I know that's not right, because he threw it that far against me a couple times. I know I didn't like him for some reason.
They're in 2nd and 10 again. Let's see what Saskatchewan does. They can sack them again.
Feger gets out to the 41-yard line.
Feger came out, faked that block on Kelly, the linebacker, and then they try to throw that screen, and Rick Goltz is waiting.
Watch Goltz deliver the blow and just come right out here and hang. He's the spy man on this, and he's the guy that reads it. Right in perfect position. That's the way you play it.
Keeping you abreast of all the scores once again in the major leagues, this time the National League East. Montreal defeating Pittsburgh 6-5 tonight. Stu Fraser will pick this up just outside his own 30. Gets to 35, where the Roughriders will have 28 seconds in which to do something with it. Saskatchewan leading by 4, 20-16. In search of their second win of the young season. After beating Ottawa, they suffered losses at the hands of Montreal and Toronto. Would dearly love to leave McMahon Stadium tonight with a victory.
Good job, Big Daddy.
Well, we'll see if they run the football. Now I would say Pow should air it out if he's going to throw.
Throw it a long way.
Throw it deep.
He didn't. He went to Moore. And Moore gets out to the 44-yard line. Richie Hall in to make the stop.
23 seconds.
At that rate, you'll be about at the 55-yard line when the gun goes off. You got to get it downfield.
Well, Ridgway's hit from the 52.
Tried to get their big guys in, but Pow wanted to hurry up offense.
Quick pass. And it's complete to Elgard. Elgard down into Saskatchewan territory. Stopped at the 51-yard line by Darryl Moyer. 15 seconds remaining to play until halftime.
That's what we were talking about with Ray Elgard before. He's uncovered out there. Pow looks up and hits him immediately.
Got to get this field goal range.
Yeah, that time it falls incomplete. He was looking for number 33, Craig Ellis.
Well, that's the idea if you're the defensive man. Ellis wanted to get inside that linebacker again for that quick pass, and Steve Carpenter just knocked him down.
Pawpaw's attempted 23 passes, completed 12 for 178 yards. Second and 10 Riders from the Stampeders 51.
Now we'll see if they go for the up.
A lot of motion at the line. Pawpaw completes the pass. But a sea of flags go up and down.
I want to see whether they call offside Calgary or illegal procedure on Pow. He moved his foot backwards.
I think they're going to call Pow. He pulled out of there. Yes, they did. He's a little bit anxious here. He's moving right now. And any movement by the quarterback, any unnecessary movement like this that could draw the defense off is construed as illegal.
Procedure, Saskatchewan number 80, second down repeated.
Number 80.
And Elarms goes out of the game with 6 seconds remaining to play till halftime. Second and 15 facing the Riders. You just throw it up.
No other recourse now, Steve, and just throw it as far as you can and hope for a penalty or something to get in field goal range.
He didn't.
That won't do.
Elgard.
Well, with 2 seconds, he's going to have a chance to kick the field goal. It'll be about 50 yards or so, 49 and a half, but he's going to have the chance to do it.
Well, this kid has kicked him this far. I've seen him in practice.
Coming into this game, Ridgway had 39 points in 3 games.
You know what Ridgway is saying right now, as Pow passed him going off the field, Joe, could you throw that ball a little bit deeper and give me a chance to get that ball in there? You're really trying to make me look good out here tonight.
Either that or say, make it incomplete, let me try for a record. Depends on how he's feeling tonight.
That's probably what Joe said to him. Look it, you got a chance here to be a real hero from midfield. They'll be laying that ball down at about the 50-yard line.
Somebody called timeout down there. I'm not sure who it was. Saskatchewan called time. Well, they've been having trouble with those snaps. They've got to get it back there. When you're kicking this far, you've got to have a good snap. Now Calgary will call time so they can rattle him. Give them a little bit more time to wait.
See those defensive backs stepping up in there, all working up and down the line of scrimmage. Larry Hogue, Richie Hall are all talking to each other saying, just watch out, they might fake this thing. I don't think they will, but if there's any release on that line of scrimmage, make sure you're with them.
It's not a bad idea to let Ridgway think about it, although a guy of his status, veteran status, I shouldn't imagine it would concern him too much.
Well, you see, that's what he's telling them over there.
Hey, guys, doesn't bother me.
He doesn't bother. I'll stand here for another hour if you want me to.
Actually,
the only thing that's concerning him is the snap. Get that ball back.
in a situation like this, Ron, when they're 50 yards out, there's really not that much pressure on the guy because most people think he's going to miss it anyhow.
I think he's going to make it.
If it was the last play of the ball game, there'd be a lot more pressure on him. They had to have this 3 points, but he'll go after it.
I don't think he'll be short.
He's not short. Is he on line? He is. Dave Ridgway. 3 more points for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and a 50-yard field goal ends the first half of play here at McMahon Stadium. The Saskatchewan Roughriders going to the dressing room leading 23-16. Stay with us. We'll be back with our halftime show in just a moment. Passing over the middle, complete to Danny Barrett. And Barrett gets inside the Saskatchewan territory into about the 52-yard line.
That was almost the same kind of a pass that Barrett ran the long touch or ran down to the 8-yard line, I should say, for before. It just came from the other side of the field. Joe will roll out to his right here, and Barrett will come across the field from right to left and catch the ball right there.
Well, he ran out usually against the zone, but when you put a linebacker on a speedster like Barrett, they're going to have problems keeping up. That time, Eddie Lowe just couldn't run with it.
A pickup of 20 yards for the Stampeders. They're 1st and 10 from the Riders' 52. Barnes being forced outside. Gets it away. Complete to Lewis Walker, but a flag is down. Walker down to the 30-yard line of the Riders, but a flag is down on the field.
Well, you can bet this is going to be holding, and it's going to go back 10.
Steve Barato must be wondering what in the world he has to do to put together a drive, because it seems like every time he gets something going, something like this happens.
And how many times have you seen that happen this year, where penalties have nullified what would look like a potential scoring drive?
Calgary number 57. First down repeated.
Bob Pollard. You can see Barnes makes a good play. Gets outside. Watch him throw back across his body, and he throws it well. You see Cedric Kelly coming. He hit him. Good catch. But forget it. Come back, start over.
Kelly showed some real speed because he was caught on the inside and flapped out and caught him on the outside.
1st and 20 facing the Stampeders. They intended that for Edwards. Kenny Hinton was running interference there.
Again, they like to create a one-on-one situation with Dwight Edwards and let him go down and work on somebody, either the post or the flag. That time he just went a slant after he went down about 6 or 7 yards, and the ball was on the money, but it came in there a little bit too tough, and he couldn't hold on to it. They're going to create a situation somewhere in this 3rd or 4th quarter where he's a one-on-one and they throw deep to him.
2nd and 10, Stampeders from their own 48. Barnes wants to put it up long. Again, going for Edwards. And Kenny Hinton got an arm on it, but just couldn't pull it in.
Well, that was really ill-advised, Ron, because he was covered singly halfway down the field, and then they picked him up in double coverage about 3/4 of the way in his route, and I don't think the ball should have been thrown.
No, that is definitely double coverage all the way, and Kenny Hinton a little slow getting up. He reached out to touch that ball, and he hurt his shoulder. a little bit, but he'll be all right. We'll take a look at this. You see him dropping, all right? They're getting deep. Now you're going to see Hinton and Fran McDermott both double-team Dwight Edwards. You're throwing into double coverage. Your chances of completion isn't very good.
One guy says you take him on the outside, I'll take him on the inside.
3rd and 20 brings on J.T. Hay and the punting team. Stu Fraser at his 25. And Fraser gets out to the 34-yard line where the Saskatchewan Roughriders will scrimmage 1st and 10. They lead the Calgary Stampeders 24-16, 12-14 to play in the 3rd quarter. And Tio Fabi will have the pole position for the German Grand Prix tomorrow on Sports Weekend. Michele Alboreto, who leads the driver's standings, will start in the 8th row position on the grid. That's the German Grand Prix tomorrow on Sports Weekend. 1st and 10 for the Riders from their own 34. Flag is down. Pau puts it up, intending for Elgard, but it was knocked down before it got to Elgard.
Might have lost sight of it just as it went by that linebacker, Steve Carpenter, but it did hit him in the belt buckle. I thought he was going to catch it. Carpenter thought he should have had it, so I thought it just hit him and he dropped it.
Procedure, Saskatchewan number 20, decline, 2nd down.
First to France, the player penalized on that play. So it's 2nd and 10 for the Riders. 11:45 remaining to play in the 3rd quarter. They lead 24-16. Pau, quick pass, complete. Craig Ellis. And Ellis fights his way across the 45-yard line, brought down by Ron Hopkins.
Well, they went man-to-man in the secondary, and that means Daryl Moyer has to cover that man coming out of the backfield. In this case, it's Craig Ellis, and he just can't get there that fast. That's a long way to run. Ellis got the ball, got the 1st down. See, Moyer has to come from about the picture you're seeing in the middle of the field, and he has to get out there. That's a long way to go. See the good move by Ellis. It falls forward. 1st down, Saskatchewan's alive.
Pau intending it for and complete to Michael Larms.
Well, he threw that one on the line, but that was a good defensive play. He made the catch on him, 8-yard gain, but he took a pretty good hit.
It looks to me the way they're lined up, Calgary, they're playing their linebackers tight inside now, taking away that quick stuff out of the backfield, and those breakouts and those sprint outs to the outside look like they should be open if they stay in that defense.
2nd and 2 Riders. The ball just inside the Stampeders territory. Give to Ellis, and Ellis gets down to the 51-yard line.
You see number 74 for Saskatchewan, Ken Moore, in the backfield. He also backs up the offensive line. So you know what he's in the backfield for. He's there to block. And on that play, he led him right into the hole, and Ellis, being a good back that he is, followed him, and Moore got him the 1st down.
And at 6'5", 225 pounds, he should be able to throw a block. 1st and 10 Riders. Pau over the middle and setting that for Ellis. A flag goes down.
They're going to call Steve Carpenter for pass interference.
Well, that's what you tell those linebackers when they try to get, or those linebackers when those backs try to get across the middle. Just step in front of them and impede their progress, and that's what he did that time, but he got caught.
Forward pass interference. Calgary number 96. 1st down.
Well, let's see what happens on the injury. Whoa, did he do a little bit of flying? James Walker.
Elgard got underneath him.
Don't get the opportunity to see these kind of blocks too many chances. Roger Alday gets underneath Walker as he tried to jump. That's a long way down.
Boy, I tell you, that's going to wind up on somebody's highlight reel for 1985.
It's not the ball that hurts, it's that sudden stop. Looked like he hit right on the back of his head.
There's not a lot of give on that artificial turf.
Roger Aldock's got a great low center of gravity, and he's a weightlifter, and he loves to get a guy trying to hurdle him so he can get up underneath him and just throw him up in the air.
First and 10 for the Riders from the Stampeders 45. Pow over the middle looking for Moore, and it falls incomplete.
Moore looked like he was going downfield looking for somebody to block. He wasn't even looking back into the backfield.
Well, that's a pretty good hit. Stu Laird, the backup defensive lineman, who's in for Walker, put a pretty good hit on Joe Pow, but Moore, as you say, Leo, was checking out that backfield down the middle and wasn't looking for the ball.
So it'll be second and 10 Riders from the Stamps 45. 9:19 remaining in the third quarter. 24-16 in favor of Saskatchewan. Pow. Complete to Will Arms.
Well, that's good judge of distance by Elon. Just far enough for that first down. He had to get across that white line, and I think he just made it.
There's Walker there on the bench, number 64. He's still walking around wondering whether everything's on the square or not.
Little shotgun. Now watch the throw to number 80. Elon makes the catch. Got a great mark from the officials. First down. Saskatchewan's alive again.
And the ball's at the Stampeders 35. Tenney for Elgard. Richie Hall covering on the play, doing a pretty good job.
The rush is what got there that time. That pass out in the flat is still open with the two receivers, one going down, taking the outside man deep, and the other guy breaking out. Has got to be open because it's a foot race between the inside safety and the guy that's breaking out, but they've got to have time to throw it. And they just didn't have time to get it on target.
Second and 10 Riders from the 35. Pow. Incomplete. Intended for Elgard.
Just can't seem to connect tonight, Elgard and Pow. I mean, there's been 2 or 3 in his hands. He's dropped. 2 or 3 have been called back for penalty. And then when he's open that time, the ball's thrown low. So Ridgway will come out.
And coming into this game, Elgard had 28 receptions for 393 yards and 2 TDs. He was indeed one of the favorite targets of Joe Pow, but they just haven't been able to hook up. Now let's see if Ridgway can do it again for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. He connected on a 50-yarder to end the first half. 42-yard attempt this time, but it's good. So Saskatchewan go in front of Calgary by a score of 27-16 with 8 minutes and 12 seconds remaining to play in the third quarter here at McMahon Stadium in Calgary. And of course, Don Whitman will be back in the play-by-play chair for that one, joined by Ron and Leo. That's the Ottawa Roughriders and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Thursday on CBC. First and 10 Stampeders. Passing, completing, and then knocked out of the arms. Lawrence Thompson just couldn't control it, just couldn't hang on to it.
Barnes wanted to come to this side of the field. In fact, he rolled here, but it was nothing here for him, so he turned, went the other way, and that receiver was running at the same time. He just couldn't hang on to the football. He hit him with it. We've seen a lot of that tonight.
One thing that I've seen tonight that is very evident to me, and that's that Barnes is not the runner that he used to be. He's had several opportunities to roll outside of contain and run with the football, as you see the ball knocked out of Robinson's hands there.
Second and 10 Stampeders from their own 35. Barnes firing high that time, again intended for Thompson, and again he couldn't hang on.
Well, you know, you're talking about Joe Barnes. I had an opportunity to talk to him downstairs tonight, and I was really surprised at the weight he has lost. He's just not as big a man as he was a few years ago, and I don't know if that's by design because he does so much running in this run and shoot or what, but he probably can't take the pounding he took a couple years ago.
Well, he's probably encouraged also by Steve Barrato not to do too much running either.
Stu Fraser. And Fraser gets it back to the 35-yard line. Bob Pulley making the tackle for the Stampeders.
Now I was going back to that team. Number 22 is locking on to me. So we got safety back. It was zone the front side though. It was man back from. Here we go, team. Big turnover, team.
Now, if you can get all that straight on the sidelines, I'm sure that everything's under control.
First and 10 Riders. Greg Ellis. And he finds a little bit of daylight. Gets up across the 40-yard line. Bernie Morrison making the stop.
Once again, a good job by Roger Aldag blocking on Steve Wilburn. And this time, the play did go inside where they wanted it to go.
Pickup of 5, 2nd and 5 for the Riders. They lead 27-16. 6:40 remaining to play in the third quarter.
It's like Morrison just reached out there at the last moment, clamped one of those big hands on that guy and got him enough to stop him long enough to be tackled.
Foul complete to Ellis, and he has the first down by a couple of yards. Steve Carpenter bringing Ellis down.
Steve Carpenter was a defensive back in college. He tried out in national football as a defensive back, but up here, because of the pass-oriented game so much, he's big enough to be a linebacker. He's got good speed.
First and 10 Riders from their own 48. Foul. Firing up the middle. Intended for Stephen Jones. Just couldn't quite get to it.
That's just another question of not having enough time to get set up. Because if he had the time, it would have been a touchdown.
Have this guy come all the way over.
What, drag him?
Troy Stephen put the drag back over here. We got to run for the zone side and the man side. And then work our man times back here with a 60 hammer.
Okay, because they got 20 down. The safety is still high over the top.
Over here. No, he's over here.
The one time we ran the end, he was over here at the snap and I released. 27 was up top over here. I don't know what he must be back.
Oh, we could sell some videotape to Jocko. Interception, Calgary, Larry Ho.
Boy, tried to go to Elgard with it, threw it a little bit high, and the ball tipped in the air. And when it tips in the air, those defensive backs work on it every day, and Hogue was there to get it. Going to get a good look at it this time. Straight back. Tries to hit Elgard. Look at the ball. It's up high. Tip. Bang.
An old tip drill.
Moved Darryl Moyer, a safety man, right underneath that curl. Good job, and as you see, that's an amazing stat. 4 games into the season to get your first interception of the team.
Big turnover for the Stampeders, giving them first and 10. Barnes sacked. Doolin getting through to sack Joe Barnes, his 3rd sack of the game.
Doolin has been very prominent out there tonight. There was a little bit of concern about Doolin's play the last couple of weeks, but he's certainly come ahead strong tonight. Come in there and just sorted those red shirts until he got to the guy with the ball and said, "You're mine."
I'll tell you, I don't know what they've been talking about on the sidelines, but it certainly hasn't helped much.
Well, they're talking about running patterns. We better get some blocking.
2nd and 15 for the Stampeders now from their own 51. Barnes again under pressure. And again he's sacked. Rick Goltz getting in there this time.
And I think number 70, Doolin was in there on that play too. But they're getting a big rush. And both quarterbacks are being harassed all night by the front 4 and the front 3 by the defender. The pressure will be coming in here as Barnes rolls to his left. You see Goltz there just release the block from the center, come in, and he's the first guy in there, and then here comes Doolin. And Rick Moore was right there, too. That's all 3 of them, Ron.
3rd and 22 situation. J.T. punting. Stu Fraser gets out to the 33-yard line where the Saskatchewan Roughriders will scrimmage 1st and 10. 4 minutes and 2 seconds remaining to play in the third quarter. Saskatchewan continue to lead the Calgary Stampeders 27-16.
I don't know if I'm going to make it through the year.
cancel those World Series tickets.
I don't know whether they are, Ron.
1st and 10 Riders. Papa wants to go long. And in and out of the arms of number 85, Stephen Jones.
Well, he did what the good receiver should do. The ball's thrown inside and a little bit short. He came back and tried to jump and make the catch. If you want to criticize him on one thing. Use the hands and not the arms. He tried to reach up with 2 arms instead of grabbing it with his hands. Sometimes that ball's coming awful hard and bounces out. But we don't want to criticize him. He tried to get it.
Foul, and the Riders will do it again. 2nd and 10. The ball on the 33.
Better watch out. Nobody covered him. They blew it
Right over the middle to Craig Ellison. He gets to the 50-yard line. Greg Peterson there to make a stop.
Oh, Richie Hall just stepped up there on the right-hand side from his safety position and just went unblocked in there. But Joe Pawpaw did an excellent job of getting the ball off.
You know, when they want to blitz the halfback, you only have 4 defensive backs left. They take the 4 receivers. Now, anybody coming out of that backfield, you cannot allow him. You got to tackle him, grab him, do anything you want, but don't let him downfield. Randy Troutman.
Well, he's just overpowering 3 people. That's what you call inside pressure.
You know what's nice about what Randy Troutman did? He did not get the sack. He did not get the pressure. But what he did is occupied 3 people.
Not only that, but he created that vacuum up in the inside there where those other people could just rally around. And while we're waiting here, this program is copyrighted and strictly for the private use of our audience. Any reproduction, retransmission, or exhibition in whole or in part without the express written consent of the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation is strictly prohibited.
You know what Saskatchewan did there? It's a little bit dangerous. Like, I don't know how close you can see it, but Pawpaw took some good hits on the play. But as I was saying, if that back comes out of that backfield free, now you're another blocker short. So that's 2 people that can hit you. But boy, you're going to have a guy wide open downfield if he gets there. And Ellis got there that time.
Richie Hall just simply got stepped on.
All right, watch. Watch now. He knows he's going to get hit. He throws the ball. 3 red jerseys.
There's Richie Hall, 27. Now you're going to see where he gets stepped on. There. That's what twisted his leg. Ouch.
He jogged off. I think he's okay.
He's big, though. He's 5'6", 160.
He's bigger in our direction.
1st and 10 Riders from their own 50. The pitch to Ellis. He picks up 3 yards.
He seems to be okay. He's talking to somebody. I can't see just who it is, but there he goes. Right back in the ballgame. 160 pounds. He loves the blitz.
They better get him back in there.
Well, Greg Peterson will be the guy who takes his place in there. Second-year man from Brigham Young, Calgary, New York.
Pawpaw to pass. Gets away from the pressure. Still on his feet. Gets down to the 50-yard line of the Stampeders.
Tell you what, if the ball's touching that line, he has the 1st down, too. We're going to get a good look at this.
I think it depends where they mark it. They're going to mark it close to that line.
Joe Pawpaw is not noted for his running, but he looks pretty nifty right here, and he knows where that 1st down is. Watch him come in here. Looks like he may have got out of a little bit by the face mask right there, but boys will be boys. There's only one thing to do right here, and that's the same thing that they did the last time when they had a full yard. They've only got about a foot here, and that's the quarterback sneak. Nice and sure. Follow those 3 big guys in the middle and just don't hesitate. Go get it.
Use that white line. That's where he's got to go get it.
He's got it.
That's exactly what he did. Joe Pawpaw picking up the 1st down for the Roughriders. So with 1 minute and 55 seconds remaining in the 3rd quarter, the Riders keep the drive alive. They lead 27-16 in search of their 2nd win of the season.
20-year-old players there, Ron. Bob
You
Foley.
think Bob Foley wants to win this football game and beat Saskatchewan?
Oh, does he ever? That's where he played out there.
Hudson Bay, Saskatchewan. Yeah, to have his guitar down there and sing, too. He does that.
Could we possibly see Greg Bavra in action before this game is over?
Let's say shortly.
Pawpaw throwing into the artificial turf, intending that for Craig Ellis.
Well, that rush will not allow Pow to get set. When that rush comes from the outside, he's throwing it quick, and when you throw off balance, you'll throw it low.
And how much would that man like to win this ball game tonight? Jack Doyle.
Well, I'll tell you, if he can win this football game, he is right back in the thick of this race because everything is tightening up. That Edmonton Eskimo club seems to be playing well. Boy, they had a great game last night.
Well, Jack Doyle is a great guy, but he was quoted in the paper this morning as saying he felt very bad that Calgary was having some problems this year. Do you believe that, Ron?
No.
Pow wants to run. A flag is down. Gets down to the 35-yard line.
This will upset Pow. When a quarterback runs that far and makes that big a gain, and they call it back for holding, he's going to be upset.
Oh, come on, Ronnie. It's not that far.
Hey, for Joe it is.
Joe's got his head down.
He's gasping for air. That's what he's doing.
Boy, it looks like they walked him off a ton.
10-yarder.
Holding, Saskatchewan number 61, second down repeated.
How many times have we heard those words this season? Holding.
Well, that's the offensive center, Willie Thomas. Let's see what he does. He's got Randy Troutman, so he must be holding Troutman.
Boy, it looked like a good block, but you can't see from here. He may have had a hold of the jersey.
Second and 20, Riders from their own 51. Homer Jordan makes that. And he completes to Chris DeFrance.
Coach Pow was tired. He needed rest.
Homer Jordan coming in. Only the second time this season that he has run a play from the line of scrimmage. The first time he fumbled, and that was it.
And that's an option run or pass with both guards pulling on that play and Homer rolling to his right. He's a great runner. He came out to his right that time and saw the guy downfield just before he crossed the line of scrimmage and got the ball to him. Unfortunately, it was dropped.
Homer knows that running game, but he's getting a good lesson this year working behind Pow, learning the passing game.
Leschuk punting from his own 40. For Walker, takes a big bounce in front of Walker. He's back to his own 10. Jerry Friesen downfield to make the tackle on Walker. So the Calgary Stampeders will scrimmage from their own 15-yard line, and it looks as if Joe Barnes is going to stay in the game.
I would say Joe better move him this time.
Well, already the fans are getting a little bit antsy. Barbara is a local boy that played out here, and they just love to see him get in there, and especially when Joe's not having a good night, they want to see their boy in there. That doesn't make it any easier on Joe or on Coach Steve Barato.
This should be the final play of the third quarter. Barnes passing complete to Barrett, but it falls out of Barrett's arms.
Going to get a roughing play on
and
the
a flag goes down, so the quarter cannot end on a penalty.
Well, they've been around Joe all night, sacking him, and this time they're just a little bit late and get called for it.
I think it was Doolin. He's been in there all night.
Major foul. Roughing the passer, Saskatchewan number 48. First down.
That's Kelly. Well, let's take a look at him. They're coming after him. There's 48. We're going to get a good look at this. Joe throws the ball. Oh, yeah, you're a little bit late, though.
Almost a week late. Now this should be the final play of the third quarter. Barnes complete to Dwight Edwards, and Edwards is brought down inside the 40-yard line. So after 3 quarters of play here at McMahon Stadium, Saskatchewan continue to lead Calgary 27-16. Second and 1 facing the Calgary Stampeders. The give to Walker, and he has the first down with a couple of yards to spare. Dave Singh in to make the stop. And there's the coffee stat story through 3 quarters of play, still favoring very much the Saskatchewan Roughriders, as might be expected. They lead 27-16.
Well, that man, Lewis Walker, he ran for over 700 yards last year. Excellent running back. He was a rookie last year. When he gets football, he runs straight ahead.
First and 10 Stamps from their own 44. Barnes, quick pass. intended for Dwight Edwards. Bounced in front of him, and we've got tempers beginning to flare up at field level.
First bounce doesn't count.
Well, there's got to be a little frustration there. We've seen this happen now for the last couple of years where Calgary has just had a great defense, but they haven't been productive offensively. And everyone thought with the acquisition of Joe Barnes, this was going to all change. But you got to kind of start thinking that when the outstanding receiver on that team is a guy that was a converted quarterback, that maybe they don't have as much talent as they need.
Barnes right in and out of the arms of Emmanuel Tolbert.
Well, we haven't heard much from Tolbert tonight. The Saskatchewan defense put a blanket on him, but that one he should have caught. Joe's got to be frustrated. I think the whole bench down there will probably be a little bit frustrated now.
You know, the coaches on the opposing team, they always say, here's what we've got to stop when we're getting ready to play a team. And the two guys that they had to stop as far as the passing attack was concerned was Elgard and that guy right there, Christa France, that just missed that one. And so they've been putting the double coverage on him most of the...
It's Emmanuel Tolbert.
Emmanuel Tolbert. Emmanuel Tolbert, you're right, Ron. But they've been putting the double coverage on those two guys. And that's the story tonight. They should be going to the other outside people.
Take your best man away.
September the 1st, that's the Winnipeg game. The Alumni Association is urging all former Saskatchewan Roughriders who have not yet received information regarding this event to please contact the Rough Rider office in Regina at the number 569-2323 or by writing. Ronnie, I want to know how come they use George Reed's number for the telephone number.
I have no idea why they do something like that.
Hey, that should be quite a weekend. Are you going to go?
Yes, I'll be there, no doubt. I'm looking forward to seeing some guys. I understand Cleveland, Van, Roger Gorey, and some of those guys are coming back. That'll be great to see them. Great teammates and good guys.
1st and 10 for the Riders. They're leading 27-16. Pass is complete. Greg Ellis gets to the 29-yard line.
When these two backs are playing this deep and the linebackers in here trying to get out, they slide this guy out. It becomes a foot race out there, and that's who they hit just as often as they can when those linebackers are playing on the outside. There it is right there. He's got to recover up and make the play. That's Hall coming from his inside safety position.
2nd and 8. Pow passing. Mikey Lerms unable to hang on. So that brings on the punting team for the Riders.
I think Jack Goda's got that defense of Calgary pretty well figured right now, and he's got the word in there to Pow that when they play those three linebackers tight on the inside that he should go and throw those flat passes, and then when they spread out, get the outside check off to the backs coming down the middle, or the guys coming quick off the line of scrimmage. And you'll see anytime the linebackers are inside, the pass to the outside, and when they're outside in the position where they can stop that, they go to those quick checkoffs.
Nice. Yeah.
Good punt by Leschuk, driving Walker back to his own 20-yard line. Eddie Law making the stop on Walker as he crossed into the 32-yard line, where Calgary will be 1st and 10 with 12 minutes and 26 seconds remaining to play in the 4th quarter.
Well, so far, the Saskatchewan defensive line has been winning the battle of the trenches, and that's usually who wins the ballgame.
1st and 10, Stampeders, the ball on their own 32. Barnes under pressure, gets away, passes. Lawrence Thompson. And Gary Doolin was in there putting tremendous pressure on Joe Barnes. And Lawrence Thompson came up with the reception.
Gary Doolin comes in and gets the pressure right here, and when Barnes gets back in this position, Moore comes in from this side, and when they both get in there, there's just no place to go. Watch Gary Doolin put it on right there. Here comes Big Moore, number 76, with the hands up in the air. And that's pressure from just three guys on the line of scrimmage.
First and 10, Stampeders. Complete through the middle.
Oh, Emmanuel Palmer finally got open across the middle. Makes his catch. Tempers are getting a little frisky down there. Getting a little ready to go. All right, we'll take a look. Watch for number 19 to come sliding right around Jerry Friesen. There's Friesen. There he is. Makes the catch, takes the hit.
He earned it. That was a gain of 12 yards. First and 10, Stampeders.
Watch out here.
They're still trying to create a situation to get Dwight Edwards on a one-on-one.
And all the receivers that time were lined up on the left side, and Barnes threw to the right side.
Well, you got a new receiver in the ball game for him, and that sometimes those things are going to happen. Lawrence Thompson in at that wide receiver position. Barnes saw the blitz coming. There's no doubt about that. He had single coverage over here, which is exactly what Leo was saying. But Thompson either didn't get the audible or he just blew the pattern. And Joe wasn't too happy. But those things will happen. But in a crucial game, you can't have them. You've got to make the right move.
Second and 10, Stampeders from the Roughriders 54-yard line.
And it's time.
You know, I can't figure that out. I mean, both Joe Barnes and Joe Papa are very experienced quarterbacks, yet both have been called for that too long in getting the ball into play.
I think he was trying to read the Saskatchewan
exactly
defense,
what it
and they
was,
were moving around over there and didn't let it.
Calgary, second down and 50.
That's exactly what it was, Ron. They put that formation strong to the left with all the receivers over there, hoping to get Thompson over here on this side now on a one-on-one instead of Edwards. That time the linebacker dropped out, and so they wanted to check back to the other side. Just took too much time.
Second and 15 for the Stamps now.
He's going to get sacked.
Barnes, under great pressure, brought down just outside the 30-yard line. Cedric Kelly in there to make the sack.
Got a flag down also after the play. We'll see what happened, but Barnes wanted to throw the football. There was nobody open over here, and he turned and scrambled, and he didn't have a chance. Kelly ran him down.
I think what you're going to find on this play is that they got in there and stopped him, and Moore went in and made the play and pulled the ball out of Barnes' hand, thought it was his, and then started complaining about it. We'll see it right here.
So he's looking. Now he's in trouble. There's no one open over here.
Watch Moore, 76, now come after him.
Kelly runs him down. Now let's see what happens.
Watch Moore try to jerk the ball out of his hand right here.
Full conduct. Saskatchewan number 76. Third down.
Moore was just very frustrated because he thought that when Barnes was going down that he had stripped the ball from him and got the ball. And when the official didn't award him the ball, he started screaming and yelling. The official says, that doesn't do you any good. We'll just walk you off a little bit.
J.T. Hay in the punt. Fran McDermott takes it on the run, his own 35. And McDermott gets out just shy of the 50-yard line where Saskatchewan will scrimmage first and 10. 10-19 to play in the fourth quarter. And they lead the Calgary Stampeders 27-16.
Well, I see Moore has got the ball in his hand now. He says, it's my ball, it's my ball. And the referee says no, and so he just hits the referee in the stomach with the ball. And the referee said, well, you want to do that? Well, we'll walk up 15 yards farther and see what you think.
He's still mad. You know, he's throwing his helmet. It's better to throw your helmet than to throw the ball at the referee.
It's better to throw your helmet than to throw the game.
Yeah, the only one that chews you out when you throw your helmet's the trainer.
And the equipment man. And the equipment man says if you're going to throw your helmet, make sure your head's in it.
Moore, number 76, came from the Argonauts, was really highly heralded, went down and had a tryout in the USFL at Tampa Bay and didn't quite work out, and then came back and went to Saskatchewan, traded by Sazio to Saskatchewan. Got out here, they're not too high on the way he played, but he's really come back in the last couple games.
There was holding before the punts, so the Calgary Stampeders will get a chance to punt again to the Saskatchewan Roughriders with 10-19 remaining to play in the fourth quarter. Saskatchewan continue to lead the Stamps 27-16.
Well, the Calgary defense might have to go looking for a turnover to get some field position here and maybe get something going because Saskatchewan's been dominating the play in this third quarter.
J.T. Hay will get this punt away from his own 40-yard line. But before he does, let's tell you that next week in the CFL, starting the Thursday, first televised game of the week, we've got Ottawa-Winnipeg, and then it's Edmonton at Toronto on Friday. Saturday, Hamilton at Saskatchewan, and Sunday, Montreal at Calgary. Another exciting week of action in the CFL. J.T. Hay. Punting to Stu Fraser. Takes it at the 15. And before he can get to the 20-yard line, Fraser is brought down by Brian Strong.
You know, on that previous punt, Saskatchewan had field position at the 50-yard line. They lost 15 yards because of the holding. They lost about 40-some yards of field position. That's tough. Now they got to make it up back deep. And if Calgary's going to get into this ballgame, they need a turnover right now.
With that kind of mathematics, you're not going to win a lot of ball games.
Well, field position is the name of the game.
Firing complete to Elgard. Elgard gets to the 39-yard line.
Boy, Richie Hall had him covered about as well as you can, but he just reached back and grabbed it in those two big hands of his, and he got that field position back in a hurry, Steve.
You know what that is? It's a mismatch when Elgard goes down at about 6'3", and Richie Hall is about 5'6". And Elgard just shucked him off like he was a fly that time and just kept right on going.
A gain of 21 yards for Ray Elgard. Good concentration in pulling in that pass from Joe Palpa. First and 10 Riders from their own 39. The flags go down. Offside against Calgary, I believe.
And it rains, it pours. Vavra and Barato are looking it over. I know Greg Vavra's probably whispering to him, "Coach, what about me?"
You know, we talked to Steve Barato, you and I both, Ron, saying that what would you do as soon as this call comes? I'll tell you about this.
Offside, Calgary number 84. First down repeated.
What would you do if Barnes was having another bad night? Would you hesitate to put Vavra in there? And he hesitated a little bit on his answer, but he finally assured us that he would put Vavra in there, so we might be able to see him yet.
First and 5 Riders. Greg Ellis crosses the 45-yard line. Randy Trotman there to make the stop.
And there's that big turnover you're talking about.
Fumble after the play, and the Stampeders have recovered.
I was just going to say, Vic Stevenson made a nice down block, and Neil Quilter got through the hole leading Ellis. You see Quilter going, gets him through there, but you make the mistake and put the ball on the ground, and the Stampeders have it. Now if they can get something going, get some momentum back. Randy Troutman. I want him on my side in the fight.
Barnes complete to Danny Barrett. Barrett down to the 35-yard line. Danny Lowe there to make the tackle.
Good for the first down.
Keep those sticks moving. First down, turn into touchdown.
And there's the man of the moment right now for the Stampeders, Randy Troutman, who came up with that fumble recovery.
Mom.
Hi, Mom.
He loves you, baby.
Hi, Mom. You're number one.
First and 10, Stampeders. Barnes under pressure. Sacked at the 40-yard line. Rick Moore in to make the stop.
Well, actually, you can chalk that up to the good coverage in the secondary because he had time to throw the football had anybody been open, but he had to look the second time, and Moore recovered off of the block.
Well, when you only have a 4-man rush, you should have the time, but that means 8 men are in the secondary, and Moore finally got loose.
I'll tell you what, it's a big play now for the Stampeders, 2nd and 15. Barnes fires complete. Emmanuel Tolbert, and Tolbert gets down just outside the 20-yard line. Has the first down.
Well, that was a key pass. Second down, long yardage, and come back and hit Tolbert for the first down.
That's the same one that they've been running all along. They roll one way and get the guy coming back against the flow the other way, and it's been open all night.
First and 10, Stampeders. Barnes tries to pass, but it was deflected. Cedric Kelly got his arm up, and Joe Barnes hit Kelly's arm, not the intended receiver.
Well, that's a good play. What? He knows he can't get to the quarterback, so you try to time when the quarterback throws, and you get as high as you can, and this time it worked. Batted it down like he was playing volleyball. Well, that's Kelly something. I've been watching him on the punt. He's been running over that blocking back this time.
Second and 10 Calgary from the Riders 21. Barnes fires, incomplete. Flags go down.
It just seems that both teams can't be satisfied with success. They get themselves in trouble. Again, Calgary is holding down here when they've got a chance to go in there and do something.
Holding. Calgary number 69. Decline. Third down.
So it's third and 10. You're trailing 27-16. 6:34 remain to play in the game. What do? Looks like they're going to go for the field goal.
Take the field goal. You got to have something when you get down here.
Now, what this means is a field goal right here puts them 8 points behind a tie, which means they've got to score a touchdown and go for a two-pointer to tie the football game. But they are in reach if they kick this field goal of a two-point touchdown conversion, tying the ball game.
J.T. Hay, and it's wide. So J.T. Hay had a chance to put 3 points on the board. Instead, it's only one, and it makes it 27-17 in favor of the Riders with 6 minutes and 14 seconds remaining to play. And you can join Don Whitman, Ron, and Leo for all the action Thursday in Winnipeg, the Blue Bombers against the Roughriders. And you can also join Mo Simovich. He won it, and Simone. He wanted me to get that in all night long. There, you got your plug. He'll be there in Winnipeg.
Going deep. He's open.
Incomplete. A long pass that falls incomplete. Donnie Harris defending on the play.
Just a last-minute heroics there by Harris.
Well,
Elam touchdown.
Elam put a stop and go on him, and he went right by him. And Joe could have thrown that another 10 yards. And I think Elam could have got it because he was well behind him. Just one of those things.
Yep, he had to wait for the ball.
Donnie Harris got the chance to play when Mel Jenkins got hurt last week against Ottawa. So he gets into the ball game and hasn't played too badly. They, naturally a new guy on the block, they're going to test him.
Second and 10 Riders from their own 35. Foul. Puts up a bit of a lame duck intended for Chris DeFrance. It's incomplete.
That one just wasn't a very well thrown football.
.5:28 remaining till the end of the fourth quarter. 27-17.
Stampeders aren't out of this thing. A 10-point lead in 5 minutes. That can be overcome. They need to move. Saskatchewan need to move that football.
Well, the Stampeders have had a couple opportunities go around with that interception before and didn't do anything with it, and getting down there and missing the field goal attempt. They've got to do something to perk them up.
Good punt by Leschuk. Walker at his own 25, where he's tripped up. Ray Elgard downfield to make the stop.
Well, let's see. Last time he punted 61 yards. This time he punted about 52 yards. I'll tell you what, that'll take field position away from the team. He's got Calgary backed up to their 25-yard line, and they were well in Saskatchewan territory when he hit it.
We talked a lot about Calgary's defense, and rightly so. They've got an excellent defense, but we've got to give a lot of credit to the Saskatchewan defense tonight. They've done an excellent job.
Boy, they sure have.
Barnes looking long, sending that for Thompson. Barnes has attempted 29 passes on the night, completed 15 for 248 yards. But right now the Stampeders are trailing 27-17, 4 minutes and 46 seconds remaining to play in the fourth quarter. Second and 10 snap. Ball on their own 26.
Watch out.
He was home free if he had that one.
Saw it all the way, Ron.
He could see that goal line down there. Boy, what a defensive play. Just set back in the zone. Just relaxing back there, doing nothing. He read the quarterback, and when Barnes stepped to throw it, he took off. Timed it perfect. Just forgot one thing. Catch it.
And doesn't he know it?
Oh, yeah, he knows it.
Well, Steve Brado's got to look up at that clock, 4:29. He's almost damned if he does and damned if he doesn't. I think he'd like to put Bamber in the ball game, but he knows that the veteran quarterback's the guy that is likely to get it for him if he's going to get it tonight. So he's, I think, probably going to hang in there with him.
Barry Cece downfield to make the stop on Stu Fraser. That was the 15th punt of the game. And that really tells the story, doesn't it, Joe?
Well, there we see Steve now talking to Joe Barnes and saying, Joe, is there anything we can do? We've only got a little time left in this ball game. That's an awful feeling. Look up at the clock, and it's 27-17. You've got to do something in a hurry. The Saskatchewan, they're a team that won't be denied, it looks like. They've played pretty well all night.
With the emphasis on the anything we can do. First and 10 Riders. Papa. Pass to the outside. Complete to Stephen Jones.
Well, when you go deep on a guy, and they've gone deep on Harris 2 or 3 times tonight, he's got to honor that, and then he just throws short.
The only thing you can do is just send everybody in the world in here stunning and everything else and hope that you can get the job done. But watch that Saskatchewan line. They bolster that thing. He's got time to get it out to the outside there. As long as he's got time to throw that ball, a little bit of second effort almost gets him a first down.
They need a yard. 2nd and 1.
Quarterback. Oh, he's going to hand off.
This time he elected to hand off to Ellis, and he'll get the first down.
Joe said, I'm sick and tired of sticking my head in there. Let's give it to somebody else.
He said, it's 2nd down. I'll let you have it. It was really crucial on 3rd down. I'll get it.
You know what Ellis said to him? You sure you want me to have it?
You've been doing a great job all night. Why don't you take it yourself?
Well, every time they put that first down up there, it makes it tough on Calgary.
It's a nice feeling to just be standing over the sidelines now and being ahead of this way of the game.
When you talk about standing looking at the clock, this is when the offense looks at that clock and says, a couple first downs and put it away.
Ellis. Daryl Nicholson putting the stop on him as he reaches the line of scrimmage.
That's a guy we haven't heard too much from tonight, Ron. Number 77, Daryl Nicholson, came from the Toronto Argonauts, been playing in there as middle linebacker. Stepped up there, though, that time and filled it pretty well.
Well, you put one man in the backfield to run the football, that middle linebacker's keying him all the way. All he does is go where Ellis goes, and he got it to the same spot, held him to 2 yards.
Second and 8 for the Riders. Papa over the middle, complete to Chris DeFrance. DeFrance down to the 25-yard line.
That's great coverage. The ball shouldn't have been thrown. Turned out to be a great catch.
Watch the stunt here. And Aldag will step back and pick up the man as he comes on his stunt. Just an excellent job. Number 44 steps right out of there and picks him up and allows him time to get the ball downfield. Just a fine job of using your eyes and picking up the man.
And it's that kind of play that helps to eat up the time on the clock. 2 minutes and 9 seconds remaining to play. Pitch this side to Ellis. Ellis cuts it back inside. Gets down inside the 15-yard line.
This is the time in the ball game and sometime in the fall when it's a little bit cold, when you have to have that thing called a running game. And Ellis is a guy that you can use in the running game.
Follows Neil Quilter, 65, and now he just goes for what he can get. And he got a first down.
That Quilter did look like a good guard coming out there that time, Ron. Just got right on his tail and just cut right off his block.
Pitch again. Same side, Ellis. This time, no gain.
Boy, that's excellent defense. Larry Hogue come up inside. He got under the blocker and made the hit.
Watch Larry Hogue. He's not very big, but he comes right up underneath that blocker from the outside and just stops that thing and gets it turned to the inside. Watch that. That's about as good as you can play it.
He got underneath the big man, too, Ken Moore.
don't try to take on those blockers head-to-head when you get out there. You got to finesse it a little bit, and Hogue got right underneath it.
2nd and 13, Riders now. Pitch to Ellis, this time they try the left side. Ellis cuts down inside the 10-yard line, but a flag is down.
It's going to be holding or something, flipping or something like that, because it was called outside.
Jack Yoda looking on from the sidelines.
I think that's his assistant coach, his line coach, Jim Gilstrap, alongside him. This is about the stage of the game where Jack Yoda says, give me those headphones. Let me talk to Brancato upstairs. And then he says to Georgie upstairs, Georgie, there's no way we can lose this, is there? George says, no. It's only 1:17 left. We're going to win this one.
No, he's probably saying, where are we going to eat afterwards? 27-17. 1:17 to play. He's making reservations.
Saskatchewan, number 44. 2nd down repeated.
Jim Gilstrap, the offensive line coach, they say has done a tremendous job with this Saskatchewan line. Very quiet, unassuming sort of a guy, but a great technician, knows everything about the game, and certainly does a good job with that offensive line. The unheralded people up front.
The ball is on the Calgary 27. Foul, bootleg. And he takes it down to the 21-yard line.
Naked bootleg.
Get him going this way and just step here and go around here all by yourself. In this stage of the ball game, when that defense is all penetrating like that, it's a great play. A lot of times you can get around that corner and get a free one. Got some good yardage.
And that brings on the field goal kicker, Dave Ridgway. He's had a good night. High snap, but it's good. Ridgway gets it away and up through the uprights to make it 30-17.
I'll tell you, they haven't had the greatest snaps on their extra points and field goals, but it doesn't seem to bother Ridgway with all that movement there.
How about Stu Fraser?
Well, he's getting them down for him.
Stu Fraser is blubbing everything that they throw anywhere near him and getting that ball in position to be kicked.
Ridgway just says, you get it down on the ground and I'll kick it.
That's right. As I said before, the toughest thing in the world for a kicker is to get grooved and know that you got to step and you're going to take a swipe at that ball and then have to be stopped in between because it's a bad snap.
Barnes complete to Lewis Walker. Walker's got lots of room on the outside.
Lots of speed, too.
Walker down just outside the 20-yard line, but flags go down.
It's a face mask. It looks like they're going to improve their field position even more because it looked like he reached up there and grabbed a hold of the face mask.
I think this may be a little, too late. 41 seconds left, 13 points down. There you see Walker across the middle, makes the catch. Now he gets outside. I'll tell you, the great speed. I thought Irvin was going to get him way back here. He outrun the angle.
Major foul.
But he got the face mask.
Saskatchewan, number 32. 1st down.
So it's 1st and 10, Stampeders. 41 seconds remaining to play. Pressure, forced to the outside, fires back over the middle to Feger. Feger down to the 5-yard line.
You better hurry. Better get him going. Can't afford to have time running off the clock.
Joe rolls out right here and has got plenty of time to hit his checkoff man, but downfield, a man wide open all by himself in the end zone and nobody anywhere near him.
Barnes. Incomplete. Looking for Lewis Walker.
Oh, got a penalty. Put it on the 1.
First and goal for the Stampeders now. 26 seconds remaining to play. They trail 30-17. I guess this is what you call a confidence builder. It's not going to win in the ball game.
They sent a late substitution in, and for Al Johns came into the ball game for Jerry Friesen, putting in an extra defensive lineman, and Calgary put their big guys in there. They've got to get this ball in the end zone and no messing around right now. Short kick, get it and score again all in 26 seconds. I don't like their chances.
Pitch to Walker, and Walker is tripped up in the backfield, but flags go down again. Eddie Ray Walker getting in there to trip up Lewis Walker.
Well, this is going to be interesting.
Offside. Saskatchewan lined up on the defense. First down.
Putting in Barrett, taking out Figure with a short yardage. We're going to get a little play action pass or something? I don't think so.
First and goal from the 1. Barnes. Sack fumble. Recovered by Saskatchewan.
Didn't fool anybody. Didn't block anybody either. Good defense. Excellent defense. Saskatchewan can kill the clock. Jack should be happy now. Snaps to the ball, and it was over. And the green and white fan right there can go home happy. You see two men in there on the quarterback, Jackson and Lowe. Boy, I'll tell you, they picked that ball. Rick Moore picked that up. He was gone.
It's a happy Jack Goda on the Saskatchewan bench. Saskatchewan not having made the playoffs for the first time, or not, almost 10 years since they've been in the playoffs. That has to be their big goal this season. 16 seconds remaining to play.
They're just going to hold the ball and run it out. But that was really a heads-up play by the Saskatchewan defense, because there was a play-action fake there, and everybody was covered downfield. And the penetration was there on top of no place to throw it. When they got in there, he fumbled the football. And Joe Barnes, for whatever reason, has put together a couple shaky ball games, Ron.
The Stampeders have had 2 weeks in a row of shaky ball games.
Final play of the game, and Joe Papa drops to his knees to kill off the last second. Saskatchewan defeat the Calgary Stampeders by a score of 30-17. It's their second win of the season. They go with a couple of losses, so they go to 500. But 2 points after a 2-week layoff has certainly got to be a big thrill for Jack Goda and Joe Papa. Not such a thrill for Joe Barnes as they exchange handshakes.
It's a short walk for Jack Goda, the winner, and a long walk for Steve Barrato, because Steve has done about everything that he can to try to get this team fired up, and felt optimistic coming in this game tonight, but they were again unproductive with their offensive unit.
I'll tell you, one thing we've got to ask Jocko is a comment or two on his defense. They were really outstanding tonight.
I'll ask him.
Good idea.
Okay. Jack Goda, how's things down there?
Super.
Jack, you know what? Yesterday you said the Stampeders had the second best defense in the league. I think you made your guys mad.
That's right. You know, I think this, I thought, Ronnie, another thing, I think that we had 2 quarterbacks performing really well tonight. One was up in the press box, Jerry Thielen. The other one, of course, was Paul Powell on the field. And it's a great thing to win here. You know, we have to get on Calgary and hope that we can catch up with the Edmontons and Winnipegs and everything like that. And we got a big game now. Hamilton has got a hot hand, so we got to come back to Taylor Field, and I know that we'll play hard there.
Well, that'll be a good one.
Oh, yeah. You know that better than anybody, right?
You got that right, Jack.
Jack, you got a lot out of your front 3 tonight. Forget about a front 4. Your front 3, they were in there all evening, and then when you do send your linebackers, something happens.
Well, you know that we've had a couple of people got hurt out there again tonight, too, but our guys that work so hard, Leo, in practice and everything, and I know both you and Ronnie have been around football as long as I have, that I think it's been a pleasure coaching these guys for, number one, that they work so hard, they want to do so well, and they want to really represent our province well. It sounds kind of corny, but that's just the way it is. These guys have been just dynamite teams to work with, and all they do is get an extra day off now.
Jocko, congratulations. Have a pleasant trip back to Regina.
Just run back, right.
The final score, once again, the Saskatchewan Roughriders 30, Calgary 17. The Charlie O'Keefe Sports Game Stars tonight. On offense, Joe Paopao. And on defense, Gary Doolin. Both from the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Joe, first to you. You did some running around there tonight. Not bad for an old man.
Like I said earlier, having the 3 kids running around the house keeps me on my toes. But Jack's done a good job in changing up our tempo and our pace so the rush people, front four can't get a beat on you. And, you know, they've got a good defense unit, and their front four is, I think, the nucleus of their defense.
Joe, are you reading your linebackers there? It looked like when they played their 3 linebackers inside that you're going right away to that slant out or that outside receiver. And then when they put their linebackers outside, you were checking off to your backs. Were you picking that up as you went along, or were those just predetermined plays?
Absolutely. Well, they're predetermined plays, but what's great about this year is we've got our backs and our slots reading that. And if they're playing outside, we give them a choice route. And I think the 1 year under our belt has really helped, and they're making me look pretty good. And, you know, I think it's the unit played well tonight.
You're making them look pretty good, too, Joe.
Well, it's a team game, man.
The defensive star of the game was Gary Doolin. Gary, congratulations. You had 3 sacks that we counted tonight. That has to be good for you.
Yeah, definitely. You know, I gave everybody 2 games ahead of me, and if I'm going to catch up, I'm going to have to get 3 or 4 a game now.
Well, you were getting to him in a hurry. You weren't doing anything different, were you?
No, I wasn't doing anything different. I just, when I came into this game, I set my goal for 4 sacks tonight. And, you know, I knew that I'm behind everyone, so I just really wanted to really work hard this week and try to get me 3 or 4 sacks.
Well, thank you very much for talking to us, Gary. Congratulations once again to you, Joe Paopao, the 2 stars of tonight's game. Offensively, Joe Paopao, and defensively, Gary Doolin from the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Gentlemen, I think that has to be a big win for Jack Goda and the Saskatchewan Roughriders if they're going to make the playoffs. It's going to give them a lot of confidence.
Well, it really does, Steve. We've been traveling around so much, I don't know whether I've been Saskatchewan or Calgary. But tonight, as far as Gary Doolin was concerned, I was just going to remark to him that it looked to me tonight, Ron, like he was walking in there and sorting out all those red jerseys and not stopping till he got the guy with the ball.
Just take it the way it comes and you win.
Okay, the final score once again here in Calgary, Saskatchewan beating the Stampeders by a score of 30-17. Now back to CFL 85 control.
All right, thank you, Steve Armitage. Calgary Stampeders, the only team yet to win in the CFL. You see the final score. Let's take a look at the standings, beginning with that Western Conference. With the exception of Calgary, very, very tight. Edmonton won last night. The Eastern Conference, Montreal, the only team with a winning record. However, they were defeated last night by Hamilton. Let's check Major League Play. Tonight's show produced in Calgary by Jim Marshall and directed by Ron Harrison. Our isolation director from Winnipeg is Brad Haywood. And we take a look at some of the names of the other people, both production and technical, that make CFL 85 all possible. Don't forget, Montreal Expos in Pittsburgh tomorrow afternoon, followed by same-day coverage of the German Grand Prix from the Nürburgring. Once again, the final score, the Roughriders by 13. Our next telecast will